that's interesting.
I guess
I never thought about coming
I
here.
guess it's not really about like
I end
identity.
up
Like
living here.
I do feel
I
like
was planning
culturally like
to go to
Japanese
like
culture
other
is
country
like
to
quite
study
different from Japanese culture.
business,
So like when I'm like
but
talking with
eventually
like my
I
American
find
colleagues,
myself has
sometimes
so
like
much
things
passion
I
in
find
music
to
and
be funny,
piano.
like they don't find
So
it funny.
eventually I ended up coming to the US for 8 years.
Which it sounds crazy, but it's true. And the biggest fear I had was I saw that line down. And yeah, I feel like at that point I don't really care the cost. Right?
everyone. I'm the composer of the piece just happened right now. My name is TIAN QIN. I'm so glad to be here since I graduated from here. I did my undergrad a couple years ago. So sorry about the technical issue. I guess that's what happens for live music. Yeah. But very good thing, that piece works without everything else because there are 2 additions. So I'm just simply glad, Jixue played it so well, and I don't want to interrupt it. It was great. I would like to invite the next composer, YA-LAN, and we're gonna have a conversation about our communal experience.
Hello, my name is YA-LAN. I'm a composer for the piece is gonna happen next. But before that, I have a few questions I want to ask Tian. She was here when we were both in MSM, but I didn't really get to know her. So I know she moved to Houston after graduating from MSM. So I was wondering, what's the most difference that you feel as an Asian female composer living in these 2 very different cities?
Thank you for the question. So when people first mention about Texas, I seldomly feel like people are positive about it, even myself before moving there. But Houston is a city that I will forever be thankful to. Because actually after I moving to Houston, that's the first time I realized I'm a minority. I grew up in China for the first 18 years of my life. Of course, China, of course, my city had a lot of foreigners, but everybody looked the same as me. And then I moved here, did my undergrad, and there are so many Chinese, Asian female composers around me. I never felt like my identity was unique until I moved to Houston, and I still remember the first comp seminar. I was the only woman, only Chinese, and that was a big difference. And a lot of ensembles were interested in commissioning music are closely related to my identity, that kind of topic. So I had more chance to consider what I can use through my voice and why is it the most efficient way that I can express myself. So I start to less avoid writing music about myself and more so about my whole community. Definitely opened up a lot of my thoughts. I'm sure it's very similar for you. Yeah, I'm gonna hand over here. Sorry, I have one question. So would you want to share a little bit about your experience, how usually you would put your identity or anything from your artistic angle into your composition?
So I grew up in Taiwan, so I have very similar situation with Tian. In Taiwan, it's a small island with a very homogeneous society. So for example, when I fill out any of the form, I don't need to check or identify myself, who I am. So that's a big thing, but then I also feel people are more conformative there, which I'm always wanted to break away from. Then I moved to New York City to study here. I feel very free until everyone's kind of reminded me that I'm an Asian woman. It's a very foreign idea and almost feel like I have to see myself through other people's eyes. So sometimes I wonder, do I really truly experience my life as an Asian woman, or it's something that people around me always projected upon me? And then I started to wonder what's my default setting. So in my piece, Kintsugi, I wanted to explore this journey of searching inward and finding the wholeness in all the fragments within ourselves. And I hope you enjoy it. So I wanted to invite the composer of the next piece, HUIJUAN, onto the stage. So your piece talks about generation barrier. So what's in your opinion, what's the most challenging thing that you think our generation faced?
Well, thank you so much for the question. But I think before that though, like after the last piece, so for me, I was at the sound check, then afterwards, I just asked YA-LAN a question that is, what's up with the goldfish? Do you want to know the answer of that question? Yeah, so like I was asking YA-LAN, can I ask you that question? She's like, please do not make me talk. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk about it. Because I feel like she was talking about how that in her piece and also in her talk that before you're out of that tank, you don't really know there's a word out of the tank, right? So like you're essentially, that's your whole word. You don't really know there's a word outside the wall until you're outside the wall. So like I feel like that's really a lot. And if you want to know more about YA-LAN's piece, please read her program note. So what's your question again?
What do you think, what's the biggest challenge that you think we are facing for our generation?
So thank you. I actually wrote that question. I just made her read it twice because I want to. The thing is, I was thinking as like Asian, then it's like you all heard a word called like tiger mother. Then it always made me think, like, what's up with your parents who's like giving you such a high standard, who wants so much out of you, but then do they care about you? Of course they do, because otherwise they wouldn't do that. It just made me think about one of my previous students. So I was teaching AP music theory to a 15-year-old. She's in the Bay Area. She's like, I think half Hong Kongese, half Filipino. She was like in the national fencing tournament, and but like in the meantime, her mom just like forced her into taking AP biology, her AP music theory with me, and her mom was like really upset that to the point that she's not gonna get a 5, she's gonna get a 4. But then I remember there was one time for the class I saw her. I'm like, hey, are you okay? You look really tired. Then she's like, oh yeah, I stay up until 3 a.m. to do this homework. Please don't tell my mom, because she will be mad if she know I did not get enough sleep. But then in the back of my head, just like, how does those things work? They care about her, but do they really care what she wants? Does she want to have a 4 or 5 in AP music theory? Like, why couldn't you just like let her be her, right? Instead of just being whatever she wants out of her. So that's really what I want to talk about in this piece. It's called A Darkness Ever So Soft. I hope you enjoyed the piece.
show that you're seeing, imUnsure. Even though we had a couple technical issues, so far, I guess everything is going well. You have a good experience so far. Thank you for your passion. So the project you're hearing, called imUnsure, was born out of a shared experience of exclusion and uncertainty faced by many East Asian women. This program brings together newly commissioned pieces composed by East Asian composers, female composers, alongside visual collaborations. Each piece focuses on a different facet of our experience: the weight of gendered expectations, the fractures and the repairs in our wounded lives, intergenerational trauma, the silencing of voices, and the displacements of identity between cultures. Together, these works from a collective exploration of vulnerability, resilience, and self-acceptance. Too often, I want to say that opportunities do not translate into true artistic freedom. What I mean by this is that our identities may be highlighted as statistics, but our voices remain muted. This project is reclaiming space for those silenced, and I want to ask, must these people scream to be heard? Who decides what freedom looks like? Last night, my brother asked me, why don't you just say it more directly? Like, you're rebelling against your family, your social background, or even you're getting bullied somewhere abroad. And his words really struck me, as I never thought some grand narrative will suddenly collapse into a very, very small personal complaint. I hear it too often along the way from Asian people, non-Asian people, females, non-females, anybody. Too many told me to stop this meaningless trend, and we gotta obey rules. And that's still how some people will see it at the end of the day tonight, which doesn't matter really to me. Too often, I think those who try to create change are dismissed as simply being self-satisfied. There's too much I want to say about this project, which I've been working on for almost 2 years so far. That's why I wrote a lot. If you go to imUnsure website, which is on the program description, the second page, you will be able to explore it in your own time and support us in your own way. What you will find there is that I've been writing many different contents. For every time, every opportunity I get a chance to speak for imUnsure. I do this because I want to offer more and more perspectives so that its weight can be felt. Like tedious, tangled, overwhelming all the time, just as I feel caught in my own dilemmas every day. When you walk out of the space tonight, I hope you will have a deeper awareness of the cultural complexities and silent struggles faced by East Asian women in arts. imUnsure seeks to open a space where vulnerability becomes our motivation and empowerment, and where we can reflect on how identity and belonging are constructed and contested. By witnessing these stories, I hope we engage in more inclusive and empathetic ways of community building, and always ask these questions to ourselves too. Whose voice is missing in my rooms? Thank you.
next piece is not commissioned by imUnsure or me. It's borrowed from Muted project by a fabulous pianist, Eunmi Kim, and the composer is ANRUO CHENG. So Eunmi Kim is a faculty at University of South Florida, and then she supports me so much along the way.
in unseen waves. Interpret the whisper of absence. Oh, here comes the queen. Queen of silence. Your muted throne echoes my heartbeat. You are speaking language of unheard, unseen, unclaimed, unfamiliar, unsworn, unnoticed. The coda of la la la. A silent plea. Accompanied by the absence of voice. The voice of a pianist. The voice of a composer. The voice of a woman who happened to be an Asian. Can be heard.
So you have forgotten. So you have forgotten. for what that I did, with what language, using what tools, on what part of my body, with how much strength you hit me. How long did it take my cries and wounds to vanish? And before they vanished, new ones appeared. Am I the only one who still remembers? But I have forgotten. How many people felt sorry that I was a girl? How long did your anger last? When did you decide to run away and take care of me on your own? How did you save enough money to buy me a piano? How much you bled when you aborted your second child? We were the sole cause of each other's agony. We were the sole witness of each other's tragedy. Now, we have forgotten. Our crimes. Will we ever forget? Our suffering.
Well, I really can't see anything here. So I was responsible for the previous 6 minutes and 45 seconds that you have heard, and of course, in collaboration with Jixue. And I want to invite the composer of the next piece, JEE WON Kim, to come to join me for a conversation.
Hello, my name is JEE WON Kim. I am from South Korea. I'm the only composer who speaks Korean. Yeah, so, oh, I really cannot see anyone. Yeah, so before moving on to my piece, I want to ask a question to CHUJUN. As I know, like you moved to the US like about 10 years ago. I'm just curious how does it mean to you being an immigrant?
Thank you for the question. So I've been in the US for studying for about 10, 11 years. And sometimes when I go back to China, people start to say, "Why you think so differently, you American?" Like, I get really struck by that, and I think gradually I start to lose the acceptance within Chinese groups when there's a difference in beliefs or thoughts or just like habits, and I accept that. I think being a stranger in two cultures is a price that I'm willing to pay for leaving a culture that I used to belong to and feel familiar with, and open myself up for a new culture and allow it to shape me and change me, and that's okay. And I want to ask a question for JEE WON. Can you tell us a little more about your title? I see that it has 3 languages.
Thank you for your question. So for my title, it consists of 3 different languages. Mak is Korean, Mu is Chinese, which language Jixue speaks, and Veil is the language that we all speak in this space. So for me, I think it's very similar to what CHUJUN said. When I go back to Korea, I somehow feel like I don't belong there anymore. It's been only 8 years for me, like being in the US, but like a lot of things have changed. My thoughts have changed, and then some of my friends or some of the people surrounded by, I am surrounded by, they will say like, you're a little different. You're not like very Korean anymore. But then when I come back to the US to study, I am so Korean. Like I go to the restaurant, if they know Korean word, they will say 안녕하세요. And then if I go to Chinese restaurant, I have a lot of good Chinese friends, and then they will say like ni hao to Chinese friends, and then suddenly, hello, what do you want, to me, because I'm so Korean. So like I always thought there's this kind of curtain veil in front of me that just I cannot go through. But like as she said, I accept that, and I'm very like, I'm not really sure if I can say I'm happy about it, but I am grateful that I am here to study and collaborate with Jixue and collaborate like working with all these great composers and Lulu. So I hope you enjoy my next piece. Thank you.
바람은 지나가고 나는 그 틈 사이에서
我在缝隙之间呼吸。
숨 쉰다.
仿佛触碰，
닿는 듯
却终未相触。
닿지 않는 나인지
是我，还是我的影子？
그림자인지
是我， or just a shadow. 仿佛触碰，却终未相触。So near to touch, yet never meeting. Am I myself? Or just a shadow? I sometimes feel lonely. It seemed like nobody heard my voice. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I really, really appreciate your help, your support along the way. MSM production team, Patrick and David, thank you for meeting my